ESBR Boxing in association with Sharp Betting. We are here in review mode, instant fight reaction to what we've just witnessed. Carlos Adames in a draw with HAMZAH SHEERAZ. Contentious draw. I think obviously world title fight for SHEERAZ there, but some of the scorecards fairly wild. Obviously we had a 115, 114. We had a one sort of flipping over to 118, 110, and then the other one being a draw as well. So Thomas, guys, first of all, just get your reaction to that. I mean, how did you score the fight? First off, yeah, tell me how you scored the fight, and then second, give me your reactions to those scorecards, please, and that eventual result.
Yeah, me personally, I had it 7-5 for Adames. Yeah, and those scorecards were questionable. I mean, 115, any scorecard with Shiraz winning, I think is very questionable, to be honest, just seeing how that fight went. And even 114 to 114 is, I feel like that's like looking for every single round you could possibly give to Shiraz. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what happened with him, but yeah, just very timid in there, to be honest. Shiraz didn't really let his hands go as much as I thought he would. Didn't really fight with the confidence that I thought that he would. And I just didn't get the jab going. I thought that he would be a lot more active with the jab, but yeah, just spent a lot of time covering up and just letting Adames pound on him. And I think, that has a lot to do with Adames. I mean, he had great head movement. Um, he just could, Shiraz just couldn't land the jab at all early on. And I think he basically just took Shiraz's jab away from him. And once that happened, I mean, yeah, that's when Adames started winning rounds. So yeah, kind of a disappointing result. I felt that Adames should have won that fight. And lucky for I mean, he didn't get the belt, but at the very least for him, he doesn't have a loss on his record.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I actually had it a bit wider. I had it sort of, yeah, sort of 116, 112, even 117, 111. I really thought Adames controlled the fight, good movement throughout, caught Shiraz. Shiraz, like you said, landed the jab, looked very tentative. Didn't really get going till the seventh round, still lost the exchanges. I didn't think it was close, to be honest. I thought it was a bit suspect seeing like the investment in the commentary teams. I know those are British commentators, but kind of bias there. We saw, even in the crowd, there seems to be a lot of investment for HAMZAH SHEERAZ to win. So I think it didn't really sit right with me. But I suppose at least you can go, Damos wasn't robbed to the point where he lost the belt. But let's just pick up a little bit on HAMZAH SHEERAZ. You were both said obviously he was timid, but I just want to get your thoughts on why you think that was. Do you think there was an element of the occasion being too much for him? Do you think? I mean, before then, they given a big up. He stopped 15 people in a row. Didn't look like he was the man that stopped 15 people in a row tonight. I was wondering whether you think it was maybe something that Damos was doing in the ring that had that reaction, or whether you think it was just maybe the occasion. What are your thoughts on his performance and the reasons underlying it?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of both of those things. It just seemed like perhaps the moment was a bit too big for Shiraz
Mm.
and just kind of shelled up in there. And also, too, Adames, uh, even though he was coming forward and putting a lot of pressure on Shiraz, still maintained great defense and head movement. And I think that was like one of the big uh, one of the biggest things that propelled him to win this fight is the defense. I mean, Shiraz just couldn't get anything going, and yeah, just I'm not sure. I think just very timid in there. Even in the moments where he seemed to have the upper hand and could have like capitalized,
Mm.
he didn't. And yeah, it's just as someone who was high on Shiraz going in, it's a very questionable and disappointing performance, to be honest.
100%. I think as well, like that. I don't know whether there was a speed differential that maybe did it, whether that was to do with maybe, like you say, Hampshire Shows being tight, whether it was something to do with the weight drain. But it just looked like he couldn't really get to Adames at any point. Adames, like you said, was quick. Like Shearer's had no fast twitch muscle fibers in his entire body. Like at one point we were talking about maybe restarting the TV, like we thought it had frozen. But it just it seemed it's just a very surprising performance. I suppose I'll leave it but two questions to finish off this, Thomas. Obviously the surprising card. The first one I want to ask you is we're going to stick with HAMZAH SHEERAZ and say, do you think we'll ever actually see? You said you were high on Sheeraz beforehand, but do you think we'll see HAMZAH SHEERAZ become a world champion at middleweight or become a world champion at all, but especially at middleweight with that cut? Do you reckon we'll see that or not? Is that looking less likely for you now after that?
It's definitely looking less likely. Um, I I still have faith though that he will be able to make the adjustments going forward to fix problems like he had in the Adames fight.
Mm.
Um, I mean, he's still a very talented guy, and he had his moments in there. Um, Perhaps it wasn't necessarily a close fight, but or at least in the opinion of many people watching. But yeah, I mean, he did have his moments in there where he was getting the upper hand, and yeah, I mean, if he just fights with a little bit more confidence like he was before, and he gets that jab pumping, I do think he could win a world title. But perhaps he's just a bit too green at the moment.
I think that's a very fair point. Still a very young man, and I think, like you say, maybe he could come back. The trajectory and the kind of hype behind him is probably obviously pushing him into the position. Obviously, he's an ambassador for Rio this season as well. Maybe that's obviously an opportunity. They obviously want to see him as the face of that sort of promotion as well. So maybe it's a bit too soon, like you say. Maybe a couple more learning fights and get it. Last question, Thomas. What's next? I suppose the only one I want to ask you is: do you reckon we'll see that fight again? Do you reckon we'll see it next, or do you think HAMZAH Sheeraz will go away and have some of those learning fights we've just discussed about there?
That's a good question. What I think he should do is, yeah, I don't think he should go for an immediate rematch. I think that he should uh take a step, fight some of the top contenders in the division and rack up 2 or 3 wins first, and gain some more confidence, and then maybe jump back into the world champion level. I just I don't think if he went back into an immediate rematch, I can't imagine it going much different for him. Unless there was something wrong with him going in. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, but yeah, it's just he's just very timid in there, and I think that he needs a couple good performances to get his confidence back.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with you. I wouldn't necessarily jump straight into that. But unfortunately, that's all we've got time for. Obviously, Thomas, thank you very much. Our North American correspondent, Thomas, and second best beard at ESBR, Thomas Kathai, there giving his thoughts. Thank you very much, obviously, you guys for watching. This has obviously been the ESBR Instant Fight Review in association with Sharp Betting. Let us know, obviously, in the comments and thoughts what you think about the fight as well and how you saw the judges. And let us know, obviously, engage with the content as well. Thank you very much, Thomas. And guys, as always, thank you very much for watching.